Jai Gurudev, dearest Bade Baba Nityananda, I want to take a moment not to ask anything for myself, but simply to say thank you for all I've been given. For those people coming from around the world in quest of yours and Swami Muktananda's darshan, along with other great saints and sages who have taken samadhi at this holiest of places, I ask you for your blessings. My beloved Gurudeva, please join the views and principles of your devotees and loved ones to come together right here, right now. Let there be peace, kindness, and generosity amongst us all. As I'm writing this prayer and walking the same road I walked 42 years ago, I pray that all faithful travelers from Vajeshwari to Gurudev Siddhapit to Nityananda Samadhi Mandir in Ganeshpuri, India, will feel as though these roads have been paved with gold and love. This will create a true heaven on earth. Oh Bhagawan, please hear me. Please come, my Deva. Please bring peace to all. I love you, your Krishna. Over the years, I've heard Swami Muktananda repeat this often. To experience love, we must go inside. When you experience real love, you get into a state that is beyond words. You are filled with a joy that goes beyond all emotions. True love is the love of the inner self. Once you feel this, then you'll know the true worth of yourself and others. One lesson I try putting into practice since meeting Baba is to be an inner self-pleaser, not a people-pleaser, as others' opinions will constantly shift and change. But if you dwell inside, you will become a different person, even on the outside. Once you taste that inner nectar, it'll start coming through you, through your gestures, your eyes, your words, and even when you're silent. So I pray to remain soft, not letting past experiences steal my sweetness. It's never good to hurt another. While hurting them, you only hurt yourself. But while loving them, you'll always love yourself. Swami Paramahansa Yogananda once told a group of his disciples this: try to avoid a negative approach to life. Why gaze down the sewers when there is loveliness all around us? One may find some fault in even the greatest masterpieces of art, music, and literature. But isn't it better to enjoy their charm and glory? Life has a bright side and a dark side, for the world of relativity is composed of light and shadows. If you permit your thoughts to dwell on evil, you yourself will become so. Look only for the good in everything, and then you will absorb that quality of beauty inside and out. In life, there may come a time when you meet someone you love so much, unexplainable and for no reason. For this person, you do anything and not think twice about it. But when asked why, you have no answer. No matter what happens or how badly you miss him, you'll love that person forever. Sometimes you say to yourself, why do they affect me so much? But that's impossible to comprehend or to understand. You just do. There'll always be that special place in your heart open for that person. This description reminds me of how I feel for Malti, later given the name Chidvilasananda, and then lovingly called Guru Mai by her devotees. In this video, my Maha Prasad from Baba, I'm sharing many events that I experienced around him, and a lot of them included Malti. Like Baba, my love for her came the first moment we met, and over the years, I would let her know this many times. Whenever I could, I'd hug her. At first, I think she was surprised, as in the Indian culture, hugging is not as common as where I'm from in the deep south. After a while, she got more used to it and knew that it was just my way. Years later, when she became guru, she asked someone close to her, at that time a Swami, to come to me with a request. Swamiji explained with compassion that now that Malti was a guru, I should not keep hugging her in public, as this might set a precedent for others to do the same. At first I was disappointed, but I understood the reasoning behind this. In 1975, I attended the Dallas retreat with Baba. I was on vacation from my job as a stewardess, and I only had a week. It was during that retreat that I observed several people asking Baba for a spiritual name. As I watched closely, some people referred to Amma to translate their wishes, a few to Swami Tejomayananda, and others to Professor Jain. After several days, I'd figured out that I wanted to get my name through Malti. I wanted that connection with her and Baba. So when he spoke my name for the first time, it would just be us. She was not yet translating, so after bowing before Baba, I turned back to her for this request. Everyone was surprised as she was sitting beside Amma on the other side, not right next to Baba at that time. but she quickly responded and asked him for me. He thought for quite a while before replying. Then he said with great feeling, "Your name will be Krishni, the one who attracts irresistibly." He then expounded that I was being named after him, as when he was born, he was given the birth name of Krishna. This was chosen by his mother, and he said that it signified love. Later, I learned his middle name was Ray, Krishna Ray. My middle name was also Ray, given to me by my parents, Kathleen Ray. After I was there for several days at the retreat, I went up to Swami Tejo, who was traveling in Baba's entourage. He was a scholarly type, and I thought he'd be just the person to answer my important question. In Baba's programs, I'd heard much talk about finding the inner self and knowing the God that dwells within. That I needed to find the key, the answer on how to make this happen. So I said to Swamiji, "Everyone's talking about inner peace, knowledge of the self, the joys of the inner guru. When can I hope to have this? How long before I can expect it to happen?" He seemed somewhat surprised because I was so straightforward and direct, but he answered me back quite seriously. "Well, Krishni," he said, "it's going to take some time. Just know it's going to take some time." I replied, "Well, what do you mean sometime? Next week? Next year?" "I need it now. I feel it should happen really soon." He then threw back his head and laughed very hard, his belly shaking with glee. "No, Krishni, don't worry. It can happen. It's just going to take some more time." I then explained I was only there for the retreat and then had to return home to resume my duties with the airlines. I was on a tight schedule. This was the reason I wanted to get it right then and there before I left. This brought even more laughter and joy from him. But I was really serious. I figured out later that probably no one had ever put this question to him quite like I'd done. Little did I know that just some time would still be coming, some 49 years later. But what great fortune to have Baba along for the ride. As Bhagawan Nityananda once said, "It is the ripe banana that is sweet to the taste, the raw one bitter. Both are from the same tree, but it is the passage of time that causes the change." Muktananda also said, "To those worthy of this, it could happen in a lifetime, in a day, or even in a moment." Before leaving Dallas, finally realizing I was not one of those who get it in a moment or even in a year, I asked Baba if I could come be with him and come to the Arcata retreat in California. And he replied back, "Yes." So I flew back to Miami, packed all my belongings, and giving my resignation notice to the airlines. I drove my little convertible up to Tennessee to tell my parents of my plans. They were quite surprised because they knew how much I loved being a flight attendant. But they also understood that once I made up my mind, there was no going back, no changing me. I was on a new beginning, a new chapter of my life. A complete change in what I'd been used to, from turning heads to opening hearts. I met with Baba again at the month-long retreat in California, then on to Oakland, and afterwards to the DeVille in South Fallsburg, New York. In Oakland, I've been doing seva only with Amma, but at the DeVille, I got to do for both Amma and Malti. They were staying in rooms in a house across from the ashram, with Baba living on the other side. All things that included Malti was a blessing for me. Her disposition and nature was very different from Amma's. So I would clean the rooms and make their beds, and I also ironed Malti's clothes. I helped her with anything she needed. One day, after assisting in her correspondence to devotees who'd written questions seeking different kinds of blessings from Baba, she asked me if I'd go with her in the early mornings for walks to get exercise. I eagerly replied yes, and then set about finding a big tall stick I could take for protection as we'd be all alone. I wanted to make sure I could safeguard her and protect her with the best of my abilities. I'd get up real early while it was still dark out with my flashlight and big stick and cross the large field from my room to where she was staying. I'd go to the outside door of her and Amma's room, and she'd always be ready. We would walk down a long lane that was close to a body of water. I had no fear at the time, but was very conscious of my responsibility to take care of her and keep her from harm. I felt by her asking me to go, she trusted in me, and that made me even more aware, more protecting. Since it was still dark, I carried my torch and big stick, my shield and armor. Many decades later, I realized our going might not have been such a good thing for us to do. But we did, and this went on for several weeks. Then one morning, I arrived and she was very excited as someone had given her a bicycle. So off we went, little knowing what that morning held. She was quite new to the bike, and at first we took our time. But as she got acclimated, she went a little faster, me hurrying to keep up, sometimes even running beside her. I pointed out several times to be careful and not to go so fast, as she was not accustomed with the bike and the area where we were. On this day, we'd gone a little farther than we'd previously walked before. She loved it so much and was laughing out loud with the joy of it. I was not familiar with the terrain, and as we went, we came upon a rise in the road, a small hill. That is when my worst fears came to be. As she was coming down the hill, she started to pedal, and the bike was going too fast for this to work. I was running close behind her, and suddenly, as I watched, she went over the handlebars. I lunged towards her to try and stop her from falling, but magically, Baba was there before me. It was as if he slowed her down, and as I reached her, she fell gracefully forward in true slow motion, hitting her chin on the earth as she did so. I am positive, from the speed she was going, that it should have been much worse. But I know in my heart that Baba interceded and took away much of the impact when she fell. I cuddled her in my arms and asked if she was okay. She was very brave and said yes, but there was a cut on her chin that was bleeding. I helped her back to my room across the field from where she lived, and I washed her cut, putting a clean cloth against it to stop the bleeding. I told her I was going to go find Swami Kripananda, and I ran to get help. She came back quickly with me and asked that I go find the nurse to come immediately and treat the wound. Now looking back on it, I feel it probably should have had stitches, but Malti did not want to make a fuss or to get Baba unnecessarily upset. That night in the meditation hall, she was scheduled to translate for him in front of everyone. Makeup was applied, and unless you looked very closely, no one would have noticed. But I surely did. Many times over the years, when I've been to see her, or I've seen photos of her beautiful face and noticed the tiny mark it left, I've wondered if when she looks in the mirror, she thinks of Krishna. I blame myself for that incident, and perhaps not protecting her as well as I could have. Rumi said, "Your body may be away from me, but there is a window open between my heart and yours." Om Guru Om. Again, I quote Rumi as he says it so well. Dance as if no one is watching. Love as if you've never been hurt before. Sing as though no one can hear you. Work as though you don't need the money. And love as though heaven is on earth. While living at the ashram, Baba gave me a beautiful long gold chain. He put it around my neck and said teasingly, "Krishna, this is real gold, Indian gold." One morning, while doing seva, Malti came to find me. She gave me a gold locket with a lovely opal on the front and said it was from Baba. On the back was a hand-engraved sketch of an Indian temple resembling Nityananda's Samadhi Mandir here in Ganeshpuri. It originally had been gifted to Baba by Amma's former assistant, Kalyani. One day she saw me wearing it, and to my surprise, she told me she'd given it to Baba as a gift. I'd put it on the gold chain Baba had first given me and placed some of his hair in the locket that opened. It's one of my most precious gifts. Later, Kalyani, Karen Schaefer, and also taken the name of Swami Dayananda in sannyas initiation, sent me a special photo taken in the temple at Gurudev's Siddhapit. It was during a dancing sapta with Baba. Alma's playing a small tambura. Kalyani and others are there. It's just a small group, and I really liked it. It really showed some of the inside of the temple. Very serene. I wrote her back thanking her and said, I'll never forget, Kalyani, when you passed the reins to me of being Amma's personal assistant, and the words we chuckled and shared about how happy you were to move on. One day, Malti called me to her rooms and mentioned that everyone said how well I wrapped my saris. Better even than the Indian girls. She said she noticed this, and so she wanted me to wrap her sari on her. I was surprised, as I thought she wrapped it great, and I stated this to her. She said, "Oh, Krishni, you go ahead," and so I did. I had learned from an Indian stewardess I'd once flown with, and it had one step that was a little more complete than how other people wrap theirs. It helped to keep the sari in place while working a flight or washing the floors or anything that you do in a sari. It kept it all together, which is not always easy with 6 yards of material. So afterwards, when I finished wrapping it on Malti, it really did look beautiful and fit her so well. But anything on her would be so. She then gave me a gift of one of her saris that I'd seen her wearing often. I'm sharing a photo of her wearing it in the ashram courtyard while we were chanting with Baba. It was silk and very regal with a large gold border. This was right before she took sannyasi. In the photo, I'm also there playing the tambura on the right side behind Hema and next to Veena. You can just see the side of my face holding the tambura. In the next photo, I'm wearing the same sari in front of Kailash Nivas in India, 2016. It was getting older by then, but I'd taken good care of it as it meant a lot to me. I'm also including a photo of the first sari she gave me. It was special, a soft silk one that I'd also seen her wearing. She has it on when her and Baba were out walking, and you can see her bending down and adjusting his socks. In 1976, I'm wearing it at the Deville in front of a small temple of Bhagawan Nityananda's Murti inside. Dhanyavad, dear Malti. In early years, when I first came to City Yoga, there'd been a sadness in me. And this quote by Rabindranath Tagore reminds me of this. Mother, I shall weave a chain of pearls for thy neck with my tears of sorrow. The stars have created anklets of light to deck thy feet, but my tears will hang upon thy breast. Wealth and fame may come from thee, but it is for thee to give or withhold them. But my sorrow is absolutely mine own, and when I bring it as an offering to you, may thou rewardest me with thy grace. Dear beloved Gurudev, from the beginning of my life, I've been looking for your face, but today I've seen it. Today I've seen the charm, the beauty, the unfathomable grace of the face that I was looking for. Sri Gurudev. I loved India like no other place I'd ever been while traveling around the world. The time I spent there seemed to fly by so fast, and when 7 years were up, it was like the blink of an eye. When Baba went to America on his third world tour, I asked him if I could stay back in India while he was away. He agreed, and that is when my duties with Amma stopped. I then began to do seva full-time in the Nityananda temple, cleaning and taking care of Baba's chair and puja. I would always love to do any work for the temple. It was such a highly charged place for me. I would wash the temple's stone floors on my hands and knees, throwing the used water in the small area outside the temple's door connecting to the courtyard. There was a tree growing there, and after washing, I loved to see how the Koda stone tiles would shine when they were all clean and polished. I would do this often in my sari, as at that time I was wearing one almost every day. I'll never forget how happy this made Sharmaji. He was the sevak who gave out the tirtha water and took care of all the things to do with the murti and things behind the gated area. He really appreciated my seva and would let me know this. Many times he would bring me chai when I finished washing the floors. Being that the temple doors opened to the road when the main gates were open, it would get dusty often. On Thursdays, I was given the honor to do Abhishek, which was the washing of Bhagawan's statue with all the sacred rituals. To me, doing this seva was not work. It was a blessing and a gift. This was a very special time for me. Another of my sevas was to take care of the large Durga statue in the gardens. I would wash and dress her, treating her as if she were alive. I loved standing in her lap, putting her kumkum on and applying perfume scent behind her ears. I would also place garlands around her neck and the tigers too. Baba would often go by in his golf cart and watch from a distance. He once said that Guru Seva is invaluable. It is priceless. You can put a value on anything else, but you cannot put a value on Guru Seva. Only after you do it, after you offer your services to the Guru, do you realize it and attain that state. Many changes have taken place, and as we know, time waits for no one. Throughout the years, as I continue to strive and make an effort in my sadhana, there are still days when I come up against obstacles that make it difficult to keep that inner peace I've been seeking. While living in the ashram, among like-minded people and positive energy, it's much easier, I feel, than living out in the world. It's rejuvenating to be surrounded by supportive, heart-centered folks. While reflecting back over my own life, I've often wondered how others who've had no spiritual training, no yoga or meditation, no Bible study or praise music, how can they make it? How can they survive in this unpredictable world without faith or a positive commitment? Can they summon up the power to fight the forces that try to take over one's life on occasion? Do they feel their spirit becoming tired, more let down, and trampled on? I've also felt this, so I understand. Trying hard to look up as I keep sliding backwards. But this particular lesson has taught me empathy. Empathy to take care for the underdog, the hurt, and the bewildered. Those ones who are ignored, bullied, or put down. I tend to gravitate to these, the rejects, the odd ducks, the black sheep, outcast, or the eccentric and broken-hearted. Ones like I used to be. I can almost feel it in them. A sixth sense. One afternoon, while living in Florida near the ocean, I was walking on the beach, deep in thought, my feet immersed in the clear, cool water. Suddenly, a large fish jumped straight up into the air, right in front of me, in happy abandonment. To me, it seemed as if he were dancing for the joy of being alive and free. I could feel the lovely breeze and felt the exuberance of the fish as it jumped for joy. As I looked out over the waves, I thought of the many dual ways one can view their circumstances, how one can approach and make their day a little better. We all have that choice on how we're going to view life. We can look at it in any way we want to. The outcome is ours and ours alone, to look at the good or the bad. It sounds like we've heard this many times, but sometimes the old ways are the right ways, the true ways. To see that the grass is greener, the bottle is fuller, the good overpowering evil. Don't ever give in to those no-gooders who are out there trying to suck out your very soul, wanting you to be in their own miserable state, the place where they reside. When they see you happy, they want to make you sad. So don't give in. Some people refer to them as energy vampires. They are the ones who drain your life of chi, leeching on and sagging out the joy. On a subtle level, these people will run you dry, whether they intend to or not. That is why Baba would always stress, you are the company you keep. While enjoying the water and the waves, I did come to realize an important point. A negative person, or even a realist, might have looked at my dancing fish as a doomed morsel, a shark or a predator's next meal. They would feel it was not dancing for joy, but jumping for its own existence, its very own life. The happiness I was feeling to another could have been viewed as fear, death, or even darkness itself. So you see, there are dual ways of viewing life, different scenarios. I try to opt for the positive one, the forgiving one, knowing from experience that when I do, I feel better and good things seem to happen to me. I know it's not easy, but if it were, everybody would be happy, enlightened, and enjoying every minute and second of the day. It can be a struggle, time and time again. There's been a few times I felt like I've had Satan by the neck, squeezing tightly, keeping the evil from me, pushing it away from taking over and completely destroying my life. Many times we go through this, so let's try. Let's try it. Let's change our views. Let's quit finding fault. Let's quit judging others. As Baba always said, change the prescription of your glasses, and you'll be surprised at what can happen. So it's up to you to make the most of any situation. Every thought you think, anything you say or do, will bear your signature, and you'll reap its fruits. Rumi once commented on these questions. What about my eyes? Rumi replied, keep them on the road. What about my passion? Keep it burning. What about my heart? Tell me, what do you fold inside it? I said, pain and sorrow. He replied, stay with it until it softens you. Of the many things I'm thankful to Malti for, this one is truly rewarding and beneficial to me. While on Baba's third world tour in America, I'd sent her a gift package, and she wrote back to me in her own hand a card on Guru Purnima, July 17th, 1981. She said, "I love you very much. Your dedication and your love will be an example for everybody one day." These words have given me hope over the years when I felt down or lost. I've slowly come to realize I'm only the vehicle, good or bad, and that life itself can be the teacher if one stays attentive to its lessons. Years later, I sent her a letter and asked why she never wrote to me again in her own hand. Malti was a guru by then, and I got a return letter on July 16th, 1984, from her secretary at that time, Katie Jennings. I'm also including this. Guru Mai replied, "Krishni, my thinking of you is much stronger than writing with my own hand." A quote from Sri Bhagavad Gita. "I look upon all creatures equally. None are less dear to me, and none more dear. But those who worship me with love, they live in me, and I come to life in them." Thank you so much, Malti, for my beautiful letter and message. Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Since the day I gave my heart to you, I am beside myself with ecstasy. Like someone mad with love, I roam about dancing. Your songs have awakened this love and has touched off an exquisite pain in my heart. These eyes of mine are filled with the vision of you. I pray this thread of love that connects us will never be broken. Oh, my beloved. This is a poem by an unknown Bhakta. On my birthday, September 1982, I remember clearly walking down the aisle to give Baba everything that is traditional in honoring a great being. I had purchased a sterling silver arti tray and on it placed a diva, a lamp, kumkum, sandalwood paste, incense, camphor and rice, sweets, a flower mala, scent oil, and a piece of my gold jewelry. Also, I had a beautiful woolen cashmere shawl. I had handmade Baba my most special card ever. It was covered in white raw silk and had a rare colored photo of Bhagawan Nityananda on the front that I loved so much. I actually had a hard time parting with this picture. In the card, I'd written a message to Baba, all in Hindi. I'd asked Swami Ramananda from the sewing department to help translate my words of English and then rewrite them in Hindi for me. Afterwards, I recopied what he'd written into my own hand. This way, Baba could pick up the card and read it himself. Inside, I hand-colored the black and white photos and drew lovely little designs around them and the 3 pages of my messages I'd written. My words portrayed everything I wanted to say to Baba in person, but couldn't speak the language. So I'll never forget the feeling I felt as I walked forward in the darshan line, carrying my gifts of love to Baba. As I got before him, I set the tray at his feet and bowed down. I then sat up and picked the tray up, showing it to him, and he said, "Ah, birthday girl, birthday girl." I had my card on top, and I showed it to Baba up close. He hit me with his peacock wand, and he said, "Good, good." He then called to Venkapa Anna, speaking to him about something, and then sending him off to his house to bring me a gift. Oh, I was hoping for some gold bangles, as I loved the ones many of the Indian girls wore. Krishna, Venkapa had been gone for quite some time. I then did arti to Baba, waving the tray and then putting kumkum on his forehead, signifying the third eye. I picked up the card again and I showed it to Baba, laying it in his lap. He kept hitting me with his peacock wand, and then he motioned for Noni, who was sitting by his side, to take the tray to the house. I was wearing a new silk sari, white with red trim, and a lovely pearl choker around my neck. Baba looked at me sweetly and said to Swami Chitpalasananda in Hindi, who was sitting beside him, "Ah, Krishna looks so beautiful today. She looks like a Kashmir girl." Once again, I picked the card up and I showed it to Baba, opening it with great care so that he could see inside. I said, "Baba, I made this just for you." He smiled really big. "Botacha, Botacha, good Krishna," as if once again he patted me and the card with his peacock feathers. When Venkapa finally arrived back, he handed him something. Venkapa seemed quite happy, and it reminded me of a courtier bringing a gift to his king. Baba took my hand and pulled me forward and opened his cupped wrist onto mine, seeming to me to be doing this with great ceremony. At first, I couldn't see what it was. It was so tiny. Then my eyes beheld an exquisite, natural blue pearl. Baba seemed very pleased. Later, I would have it made into a necklace and keep it only for special occasions because it's so fragile and so precious. I'd also read that the blue pearl signifies a high state of consciousness that one can achieve while meditating. It is located in the Ajna chakra, the pineal gland between the eyebrows. Baba would say if we meditated on the blue pearl with unflinching concentration, we would discover God. He describes this in great detail in his autobiography, Play of Consciousness. He tells how the blue pearl expanded for him, and from within the center appeared a tiny little being no bigger than a thumb. He explained that this was the inner self, which was filled with pure love. In less than a month from that day, Baba would take Maha Samadhi on October 2nd, 1982. This is described as a state of absolute bliss, with the merging of the soul into supreme consciousness, the physical death of a great being. I once heard Baba say that human life is supreme and that a person should lead his life in a worthy way. A good life leads to a good death. Several times after that fateful day, Swami Chitvalasananda would call for me. She'd ask for me to make her chandan paste and apply it to her forehead, as she said her head was feeling hot. Some days later, after the ceremonies had all simmered down, after Baba's Mahasamadhi and his burial, Guru Maya again called me to her rooms and gave me milk and chocolates. She then brought me the card I had made for Baba, the picture that I loved so much was given back to me. She said, "Krishni, I know Baba would want you to have this. This is his Maha Prasad." She also thanked me for all the hard work she said I'd done for Baba. She shared with me that Baba had liked my card very much, and he kept it on his hall table where everyone could see it when they went by. As I was leaving her, she gave me a big hug, and she said, "Krishni, one day you will be known for your love." Guru Mai gave me back great prasad, and now I can share it with others. The inside of my card translates as follows: Shri Gurudev, always make me like a child so that I can serve you in that state. Please remember that I never want to live without you. If I was given a choice of happiness and satisfaction forever, and it did not include you, I would not accept it. For without you, nothing is worthwhile. Oh dear Gurudev, please disclose to me the secrets of your divine love so I can love myself as well as everyone else. In later years, in one of her talks, Guru Mai said this: "When you are unsure about the future, keep doing what's in front of you with all your heart and with love, and what is meant for you, it will find you." This is a similar quote by Rumi. The light which shines in the eye is really the light of the heart. Of the book of God, thou art a copying, a mirror, wherein shows the beauty of the King. All God ever wrought dwelleth not apart. All that has ever sought, find it in the heart. I'm very thankful for my Maha Prasads from Baba and Gurmai. It makes me really happy to talk about them and share this video with each one of you. Rabia al-Basri wrote, "My greatest need is you. Your hope in my heart is the rarest treasure. Your name on my tongue is the sweetest word. My choicest hours are the hours I spend with you. Oh Allah, I can't live in this world without remembering you. How can I endure the next world without seeing your face? I am a stranger in your country and lonely amongst your worshippers." Sometimes I ask myself, I am so small, so unworthy, I can barely be seen. How can this great love be inside me? Only by my Guru's grace. As I'm documenting my experiences and sharing about this young American girl's love for her guru, her teacher, Swami Muktananda, I left everything behind to follow him across the world to find the true meaning of loving oneself and loving myself. To some, my sharing may sound like I'm tooting my own horn. And yes, I do agree. But if I didn't, then few people, unless they were there, would know what really happened. I'm also doing what Gurmai asked me to do, to write about my experiences I'd had with Baba. While being with Baba, I heard him ask in one of his evening speeches, "Can you be awakened? Can you drink the nectar of your own love? Can you recognize your own self in millions of forms? With the knowledge of that, can you laugh joyfully day and night within yourself? If you can do this, you are truly alive." I found that the closer I came to him, I was being pulled more inwards, becoming closer to myself. The more I wanted to be with him, the more I became independent. The more I surrendered, the freer I got. It is an awakening that has to be felt inside each person. We must be vigilant and never give up. On a birthday of mine in September 1997, I'd gone again to visit Guru Mai at the ashram in South Fallsburg. During that time, Swami Ishwarananda took me aside, saying that Guru Mai had mentioned to him that I should write about my experience that I had while being with Baba. That way, I would never forget the smallest details. I replied to him that I couldn't possibly forget a thing, as they'd been imprinted deeply into my heart and mind. During my visit there, I thought about what he'd said and truly felt there was no need to share them, as they were so precious and dear to me. I knew that I would probably go to my death with my experiences still locked in my heart. I'd heard a saying years ago that goes something like this: whatever brings you joy in life, tell no one. Travel and tell no one. Build your dream house and tell no one. Experience true love and tell no one. Because sometimes other people can ruin beautiful things. I've had this happen to me before, so that's what made me hesitant. After returning back home to Daytona Beach, Florida, where I was living, I got an email from Swami Ishwarananda. He asked me if I had begun writing my experiences and making them into a booklet yet. He mentioned that when he was having satsang with Guru Mai, she brought it up again. Being this was the second time, I thought, well, maybe perhaps Baba wanted it to be done too. I do know it's good to share, and in the years I'd spent with Baba, there were a lot of incredible moments. So I decided to go ahead. I decided that I would let Baba take care of all the people who would find fault or who wouldn't like my words. So I sat down and I began. The words seemed to flow right through me onto the paper. While I was writing, I felt much joy and Shakti by re-experiencing them all over again. So I thank you, Baba and Guru Mai, for this wonderful opportunity to share in our love for you, our Sri Gurudev. I then sent the first draft of my booklet to Swami Ishwarananda on the 1st of November, 1997. After receiving this, he replied back to me in a handwritten letter on November 22nd, 1997. He wrote, "Dear Krishni, thank you so much for writing your experiences down and sharing them with me and others. You do have a beautiful way of writing, very natural and unpretentious, but very comfortable and intimate, which pulls one into their own special place of the self. I felt like I was with you there at Baba's house at the Deville, Bhagawan Samadhi Shrine, and the visit to the saint on the occasion of Baba's Samadhi. It was so beautiful to share that intimate look of sadness you perceived in Gurmai, an experience of a lifetime. It was good seeing you here. Please visit often and be well. In the Guru's love, Swami Ishwarananda. I'd also called Swami Kripananda, which I did often, and she was in New York, and I wanted to find out about my booklet. It had been getting reviewed by the intensive committee, but I wanted to make sure that Gurmai saw it personally so she could read the first draft I'd written. Her opinion meant the most to me. In less than a week, I received a lovely handwritten card by mail from Swami Kripananda that I'm also including. It reads like this: Dear Krishni, greetings from South Fallsburg. Right after I talked to you on the phone, the intensive committee returned your booklet to me. And a day later, I had a chance to show it to Gurmai. She loved the picture of Bade Baba, and she listened with great interest when I told her about your experiences of following Baba down to the Samadhi Shrine in Ganeshpuri, the day he took Maha Samadhi. So, Krishni, your wish finally came true. She saw the whole booklet and loved it. You obviously prepared it with deep feeling. Then she said a few more things, that they would be leaving soon and that they were getting ready for different activities coming up. And at the end, she wrote, Much love to you, Krishni, Swami Kripananda. Well, these words really touched my heart, both from Ishwarananda and Kripananda, of what Gurmai had said. I pray while you're watching and listening to my videos that you also receive the Guru's blessings while my simple philosophy is taken in. Another quote by Rumi reminds me of beloved Baba. My love, you are closer to me than myself. You shine through my eyes. Your light is brighter than any moon. So after all these years, one thing is very certain for me. I am nothing without the grace of my Guru. Sri Gurudev. This photo of me was taken in November 1982, 1 month after Baba's Maha Samadhi. I'm wearing the gold chain and locket Baba had given me, plus the blue pearl that I had made into a necklace. That day, when Swami Ramananda asked to take my photo, I was feeling really sad and missing Baba. I feel that it's portrayed here in this picture. When he had it developed and gave it to me, I was surprised to see the halo or light around my head. I thought it might just be an Indian thing. Over the years, a few people close to me have asked me, why? Why did I put it there? So I'm clarifying that this definitely was not my idea. It was Ramananda's vision, and I feel it would be wrong to delete it or have it edited out. So I'm including it as is and how it was given to me. Once again, I want to give credit to my beloved Gurudev, Swami Muktananda. Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.